Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Christopher D. Gripe. I'm the Vice Chair of the Brooklyn DD Council, Correspondent Secretary of the Advisory Council, and Track of All Trades. Want to welcome everyone to one of our wonderful meetings, our joint meeting with the Brooklyn Advisory Council and the DD Council. So before I start the housekeeping, let's say good morning to Deborah and Joyce Levin. Can you both say good morning?
Good morning, everybody. It's Deborah. I'm here on my own laptop, but I'm here.
Joyce?
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everybody. I'll be on video in a couple of minutes.
Mhm. And as both of them are both here today, let's also start our housekeeping rules. Now, I want to remind everyone also, if you're just coming in now, please put your name, your information, your announcements. If you're representing an elected official, please put that in on the chat at this time. So as you know, I am going to start with the housekeeping rules. Now, I want to remind everyone, all meetings have separate ID numbers. We do not put the same because it's called hacking. We don't want that. So we want to make that clear. Everyone should be on mute unless it's the speaker. So please make sure that you are muted. Please do not touch that button unless you are announcing yourself. We need to keep the meeting in order fashionably. Now, I am going to remind people of regular procedure today. If you're just coming on, your microphone should be on and muted. Thank you. Then once you realize your microphone is on, you should immediately mute it at this moment. You can use it as unmute and muted, which right now, as I know, we're expecting a lot of more people coming in. I think we're hitting the record, but not that close. But
It's talking and I can't hear. How did that happen?
Christopher, you're muted.
Chris, unmute yourself.
I'd like to remind people that whoever's, remind you, please keep the hand up at this time. As we are experiencing a lot of more people higher than usual, we ask you to please keep your phones and your tablets muted, please. All right. Now, for the phone people who are on the phone, who are just getting on right now, please remind yourself, phone is *6 to mute, which you see the two arrows. Well, you're going to hear my voice. *6 is to mute or unmute. Please make sure you write that down. *6 to mute or unmute. *6 to mute or unmute. Before you press that button, the next step you should be doing is *9 to raise your hand. It's on your phone. You dial star, then 9 to unmute. I'm sorry, to raise your hand. That hand will be shown right there, which someone is raising their hand right now, which I'm lowering it unless you have a question, which you can wait 1 minute. That means it's working fine. If you're testing it, that is just fine. But I remind you, that is the way that we try to keep as the best we can, so we can keep the meeting in an orderly fashion at this time. So at this moment right now, before I proceed, 347-828-6660. Please identify yourself because you're Your hand was up and you're off mute and you're
Good morning, Chris, everyone. This is Pat Lou from GHL.
okay, Pat Lou. I'm gonna mute you right now.
Sorry, I couldn't get into the meeting.
Yes, yeah, I know what happened, and I will not discuss it now. Let me proceed because we have a schedule. As a remind people, if we'll discuss about the new updates, and you should be updating your Ring, Zoom, or WebEx. As people are coming in, please make sure you mute it. Now, at this moment in time, before we proceed, we like to have a few minutes of silence as you realize some more individuals have passed away and some people we may know have passed away. We ask for a few minutes of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Next order of business, I'd like to make I need someone to make a motion to waive the minutes for both councils, which is one vote.
Okay, this is Deborah Greif. I make a motion to waive the minutes for both councils.
I second, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Julie.
remind everyone, the recording minutes are available on our website. Please go on to the joint meeting page and you will get that recording from the last meeting, which we had a really good speaker about accessibility for the NYPD. So please make sure you see that. As again, we want to welcome everyone. Welcome to the council. Hope everyone had a lovely summer. It is my greatest honor to let's move on to our first person. He's very famous, and we know you heard his voice. And it is our greatest honor. He knows he can't dance from the computer screen. So, I mean, he can't dance in the camera, but now we can do this. A little dancing for Tom. Tom McIntyre, are you here?
I'm here and then some. How about that?
Yes. And,
Okay.
and the best part is I have two Toms.
You had two Toms. Well, there you go. Well, as always, thank you, Chris, for your kind intro. I have a few things I want to just give you some quick updates on, and then I have an exercise for everybody at the end. It's an exercise in advocacy. Yesterday, I was at the Queen's Council's Family Support first day of their Family Support Conference, their 37th, and I know you guys are right there, and along with the other councils, do such a great job in pulling together our elected officials from state and city, as well as our government officials who do the work behind the scenes for so many of us, our providers, our families, our self-advocates. So as a community, we're able to come together and actually make a difference by speaking and raising our voices. And that's what the last exercise in my presentation is going to be about. But first, I think people are wondering, do we have a commissioner yet? And the answer is not yet, but it appears that we're getting closer. We're hearing that the governor does not want to leave the position vacant for too long. As you probably know, this is probably your first meeting this year, the Commissioner Kastner is no longer there. Roger Bearden is in an acting capacity. He's not the official acting commissioner, but he is pretty much overseeing the operations of OPWDD. And we will see if they
Tom, you got to unmute yourself. Somebody's
oh, somebody
sorry.
said wrong button, and it wasn't me. I swear.
No, what happens is if there's too many microphones on, it goes into lock mode.
Okay, I'll have to keep an eye on that red line through the mic thing. Oh, that's my little box. Okay, good. Any rate, so we're waiting to see when the commissioner will be appointed. We are also awaiting a final agreement between OPWDD and New York State's Department of Health and CMS, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services in Washington, as part of the American Rescue Plan. There has been money that has been approved in principle to provide monies for direct support professionals directly, especially considering recognition of those who worked through the pandemic and put their own lives on the line and supported people with disabilities, both in certified programs as well as in people's homes. There's a salary bump that is at this point temporary, 20% salary increase for every direct support professional, and OPWDD will verify that in surveys to agencies identifying people paid as DSPs. So that was supposedly coming, that is going to be coming down. And there's also a vaccination bonus for staff who received the vaccine as well. And we have approval for the concept, but government, as you know, moves, slower than a snail dipped in molasses. So therefore is moving extremely slow. And we hope to get some approvals in the very near future for those increases. As you well know here, because I was with you all, when OPWDD went around and got input from various communities in the 507 plan that was due to be released at some point in September, but with the departure of the commissioner, obviously the schedule has been thrown back just a bit. They're looking to get that their final 507 plan, which has been taking into consideration responses from all of the constituents around the state. That should be released probably in early November, which they will then, putting it out there for public comment first, and then they will send it off to the legislature. Let us see. In terms of vaccination mandates, this is a very, very tough one, as we all see. In other sectors of our society, there is a lot of consternation. You just had a walk over the Brooklyn Bridge the other day for those who are opposed to the vaccine mandate as a city worker, regardless of their capacity. And we do not have one in the adult OPWDD world. There is a vaccination mandate for those who have worked with children in 4410 preschool programs. So those are in effect. It is a mixed bag out there in terms of how people feel about the mandates. There are many executive directors in agencies around the state. We have some that are very much believe that the mandate should go into effect, but there are those who believe that even if they believe it's the right thing to do, they're very, very worried that their staff will walk off the job. And we are currently in a workforce crisis already, as we've been talking about throughout. We still have lots of vacant positions out there, and the strain on staff is tremendous. In a national conference a couple of weeks ago, there was a presentation that is showing that DSPs are really struggling and suffering through all of this in terms of working in these difficult environments with all the new mandates and the COVID protocols, leaving their own families, worried about the virus itself. So the strain on DSPs is very real, and certainly we are very worried going forward. For providers, there was a proposed cut to residential services of over $230 million per year that was going to be imposed this past May. That's been on hold, and it continues to remain on hold at this particular point in time. And we're having discussions with folks in Albany to see whether or not, with all of the new federal money that has arrived in New York State, that we are able to pull that back. So we're hopeful there. As the provider associations have gotten together, and I've spoken to this prior at this conference on New York Disability Advocates, or NIDA, we are aligning all of the provider associations, the ARC, New York Emerging Multicultural Providers, and the 4 other groups to make sure that we speak with one voice. We're going to be releasing our policy priorities, the main focus of which will be on increasing the workforce reimbursement, so making the 20% salary bump that I mentioned that's temporarily coming from the federal government and matching that with the state's commitment to reward our workforce. So we are there. We're getting there. So we'll be releasing that out and give all the council and everybody on it a copy of our policy priorities probably by next week. Speaking of advocacy, many of you remember that Eric Adams, who is a former borough president and is running for mayor, and the election is next Tuesday, so make sure everybody gets out and vote. But I had the chance to actually meet with him along with other parent and agency advocates this past weekend. And he actually spoke to the comment he made that was that we kind of noted as a misstep on his part, where there was a mix-up between people who coming out of institutions who may have had mental health issues as opposed to people with intellectual developmental disabilities in Willowbrook. He acknowledged that for him it is personal, and the reporter may not have got it 100% right, but he related a story about how he recognized that he had a learning disability. And that he says, I didn't realize it until I got to college. He had a learning disability because he had dyslexia, so he had trouble reading. And with all of that, he said, it is for me a very personal issue. And he asked if there are things that he can help people with intellectual developmental disabilities in this city. If there are things he can do with through the various city agencies he had. He asked us if we have ideas to send it to him. So Chris, I'm sure you may have an idea or two about the issues of transportation and what needs to be done for people with disabilities. Do you not?
Do I always? And actually, and you know, for the record, I am appointed by Eric Adams, and I have been working with him. And Tom, just to add in, the other hat that comes in, 504 Dems did have a meeting with them as well. And we did find out that you're correct what you're saying, because it is true, but it's also that we still got to educate sometimes the press as well as other advocates who have never been there. And they got to remember, show courtesy in both directions. So I'm saying that just to that. But Tom, I will be bringing up more about transportation in my report later on, if you're still here.
Excuse me,
But,
Tom, this is Debbie. Okay, I have to make one correction. He is the current Brooklyn Borough President. Marty Markowitz is our former Borough President, Brooklyn Borough President. And yes, I made sure that I directly Facebooked him, message mode him when that comments came out.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that
yeah,
he's not, I said, if you have an issue, you can call me, Chris, and others, and we would give you what's the difference. Because also what we also have to recognize is that he keeps bringing about the New York City Department of Education. They don't do proper testing for kids who have visual, except if they're blind, going blind. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, he did recognize that. He recognized parents. He mentioned Lucinia Clark. I don't know if you're out in the audience there, but so he says he knows parents from Brooklyn. So I'm sure he may have been referring to you and others that he has met from directly. So I think that was a good sign from him. I want to mention just a couple of things that was struggling. Chris Treba, who you know from IAC, has come to these meetings and has kind of let everybody know the plight of our education services. The governor, and he's having a meeting this morning at 11:30. So a couple of things I just want to mention, and that is that the governor vetoed a bill that would have allowed providers to be able to put in reserve 1% of any of their profits they would make in a particular year to hold on for, as most all school districts are allowed to hold on to for a rainy day fund. Of course, the problem is that there are very few schools that have any excess funds at the end of the year. There are times when if you don't have teachers to hire, then your tuition rates will exceed all of your expenses. But it's really a false amount of excess funds. But that was vetoed. Still before her is what we're calling the Parity Bill, and that will allow special education schools around the state, both in early intervention as well as school age, to receive any increases and meet exactly whatever the increases that occur for the district schools, that special education schools get the same. There was a statistic that Chris found that since 2012, the school districts got a 46% increase, where the early intervention schools only got a 10% increase, and the school age children only got a 26%, I believe. And I have the exact figures, so please don't quote it, but that kind of illustrates the fact that we continue to lag behind, and children with special education needs are treated as second-class citizens. And we're hoping with the new administration that it's going to help change around. We're disappointed about this bill being vetoed by her, but we're hopeful that the Parity Bill does get to her desk. And recently, IEC Winnie had sent out a sign-on letter so that everybody can stand behind the bill that will allow our schools to be able to give the same increases. No surprise, we have a massive workforce crisis in our schools. Chris recently did a survey with our school providers, and he'll be revealing that a little later today. And what he has related is the fact that we're looking at, and he believes that it's at least close to 1/3 of our teacher and teacher aide positions are vacant. Schools are really, many of them are at the brink where they might need to be closing classrooms, if not the school itself. We have never seen conditions like this before. Since there is a shortage in the Department of Education, as well as some of the other district schools in the outer counties, our schools are continuing to lose teachers because the pay raises are certainly, it's too hard to turn down. So we're also going to be sending some suggestions to the borough president on this one, so that the Department of Education can't poach our teachers with no notice. They'd have to show up the very next day if they called to say, if they are called and offered a position. So of course, I mentioned the vaccine mandate, transportation issues. If people saw the Daily News a few days ago, kids are not getting to school. The buses are not there. The bus drivers, we're short bus drivers. I know in IATS's our own transportation system for IEC, it's hard to get drivers. We have people that want to go back to their day services and they can't get there because we don't have sufficient drivers. So we know that's something that the regular school districts are facing as well. So at any rate, so Chris is having his meeting a little later today as we go forward. And I believe that are the basic highlights that I had prior to my last item. So I don't know if I should stop. If there's any questions, I haven't been looking at the chat or anything, but is there a question?
There is one person's hand was up, but before we do that, Tom, I just want to check if Joyce and Debbie have a question, then I'll go to that person's hand.
Sure.
I have a question. Or you can say,
Joyce, stand by. Tom,
this is really important. When my child was an infant, his eye kept turning in, and they sent me to the New York Eye and Ear, and that's where I was told that one part of his developmental disability was the muscles and the nerves did not connect, and he'd always have trouble tracking and reading. I accepted that. I did also have him rechecked through the Jewish Guild for the Blind. They confirmed it, and now he goes for treatment for his eyes at the SUNY College of Optometry. It is not, they never do the appropriate testing to see how the child reads, how the child can even process. They have never done that when I've brought it up in the past. And I'll include Adams when he was a state senator. Ignore and make like, oh, it's too much. That's ridiculous. Everybody can learn to read. And it's a serious issue. So I hope you bring that up. And yes, Chris and I'll be very happy to testify for that, because I could tell you stories of if I didn't do what I did when he was younger, he would never be able to do, even to read to a second, third grade reading level on the computer. And they don't recognize that.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Joyce?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Tom. You
Welcome.
reviewed a lot of things that I would have been discussing. I appreciate your review.
Good. I hope I took you off the hook then, Joyce.
For most things. Thanks.
No, let's play the fifth there. This is the person who raised her hand. I think her name is Rachel.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. It's Michelle Kivanoski. Good morning, Tom.
Oh, Michelle. Well, it says Rachel. That's what I'm looking like.
Yeah. Good morning, Tom.
Go ahead.
I had a question regarding the issue of DSP vaccination and testing. And I know we're all acutely aware of the issue of the staffing crisis, the emergency that everyone is facing across the state. My issue is very specific, my question. I know that as of last week, all the DSPs in the state operated group homes were required to either get vaccinated or tested. So I'm wondering, have we seen any impact on people resigning or taking leave or anything like that due to this new mandate?
The mandate, I think they're only in maybe now the third week at this particular point, and certainly with a weekly testing that could help, shall we say, motivate them to want to get vaccinated. I have not gotten any recent data. What we'll be doing is probably at the next provider meeting in mid-November. That's definitely on our minds to ask what has been the results. I've spoken to colleagues in New Jersey, and apparently the vaccination rate increased dramatically when they have a mandate there. There are some that have walked off the job, but not as many as feared. They're also finding that when you make a vaccination mandate, those staff, a number of those staff who said they're not vaccinated, then say, no, I really was. I just didn't want to let people know that. So it's interesting across the board. It seems to me that as more and more places mandate vaccinations, for example, going into a restaurant here in New York, and you have to have your vaccination card on you. So as people want to get more normalized over time and more mandates are put in place, that may prompt some people to continue. But again, we live in the bubble of New York City. You guys live in the bubble of Brooklyn. And of course, everybody's got their own out there in other parts of the state, other counties. One provider told me in one of the outer counties that he only has 20% of staff who are vaccinated. So, and he is definitely afraid of having any mandate put in place because he feels he'll have no staff left. So it's really a very trying issue, and there's no simple answer to any of this. I think it continues to evolve over time, and I think that's probably what the commissioner is keeping an eye on, or the governor is keeping an eye on, along with the commissioner and Department of Health officials.
Thank you.
Tom, I'm going to hold on to questions so you can do the video. But before we do that, somebody answering this question on the chat has nothing to do with your question. Just to remind people on the phone, the reason why you're muted, because we cannot have echo on. And remind you, *6 is to mute, *6 to unmute. If you have a question, please press *9 to raise your hand. Again, that's *9 to raise your hand. Tom, I'm going to stop we're going to hold on questions so Tom can show you the video, and then we will continue questions because you might have more ideas. Remind everyone, please raise your hand or put your questions on the chat.
Okay.
Tom, I'm stopping my chat right now. Stopping my link. So now you can click on share.
Okay, I will do that, and I will share this screen. Okay, everybody, I'm going to run this little video. It is from BJ Stasio. BJ Stasio is the president of the Self-Advocacy Association of New York, and he meets with the provider associations and the families. We have a group from the New York Disability Advocates, our provider agency coalition, along with family coalitions. There are a number of family groups, as you well know, certainly New York City Fair among them, and the Self-Advocacy Association of New York State. And BJ actually testified at the New York State Senate hearing back in September on the DSP workforce crisis. So I'm going to run this video right now and have you listen to BJ. And this was BJ's idea. So here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is BJ Stasio here. I'm an advocate from Western New York, and I've decided to ask for a meeting with Governor Hochul regarding this direct support crisis, and I need your help to tell those stories. And we all need to rise up together to make the change. That's the name of the campaign, Rise Up Together for the DSP Workforce Crisis. So please tell your stories, but it doesn't stop you from calling your elected officials and telling your stories as well. You can locate them on the State Assembly and State Senate website. And if you need help, please ask for help, because your stories matter to me, they matter to you, and they definitely should matter to your elected officials, because they represent you and they need to hear if things aren't going well for you so they can correct it. We're all New Yorkers, we're all in this together, so rise up together. Thank you very much.
Now, before I'm going to just stay on the screen for 1 minute before I stop my share. And if you can see the screen, if you can, I will read the short paragraph, the introductory paragraph that BJ put up there. This is BJ in his own words. This was his idea to come up with this. He said, why don't we get 10,000 letters and meet with the governor? So that's what his goal is, to get 10,000 letters before the end of the year, so he can hand deliver it to Governor Hochul and say, you need to do something, and you need to do something now. But in his first paragraph, after he introduces himself, he says, I rely on my direct support professionals to help me with the activities of daily living. Due to staffing challenges, I have had to sleep in my wheelchair because of the lack of staff support in the mornings. Without my direct support professionals, I would not be able to advocate for New Yorkers with disability or live the good life that I have. He sleeps in his wheelchair every night because he doesn't have enough staff, and yet he talks about the good life he has. So talk about someone who is humble, graceful, and says, and advocates like this for DSPs. I don't know, to me, I don't know what else people would need to be inspired by someone like that. So on the IAC website, and I can send, we can send the link to your website there. What we're asking, and by filling out this this format, when you link into it, you put your name and address, phone number, it's email in there. There is a text box where you can just leave as it is, which really just talks about the DSP crisis, what they do, how they've been undercompensated, and that our system is at a crossroads. Or you can just add your own personal story and not send that and say, we need to do something, and send it into Governor Hochul. And that will be another one of the 10,000 letters that you can have. So with that, I'm going to stop my share, Chris, and you are back on, I guess, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still here. So, and I will say this, Tom, Matthew from HRC just sent you the.
Yeah, I just see it, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Yes.
Yeah.
So he put the link right there. Awesome. Yeah.
And just to remind everyone again, just to share a little Arsenal Wempery in your chat stations, and I say the word station, so it makes it easier to explain. There is 3 little dots on the side, so you can save the chat like, and you'll see the word save the chat. You click on it, it will be saved when you leave the meeting. And then you will get a whole announcements, all the kitchen sinks, everything. But at this moment in time, does anyone have additional questions for Tom?
Tom, I would just like to add that that was, very inspirational. And I encourage everyone to tell their story. I invited my own programs to come on today and I hope they did make it on.
They
So
did, Joyce.
with their individuals and staff so that they can send that out as well. It's so important that the governor, the elected officials hear about the individual stories and the crisis that all the agencies face without having enough staff or somebody working double and triple shifts and what that means. So thank you.
It is the shout out to the DSPs who are on this call and everywhere. It is they who have kept our system intact. It is they who have helped safeguard the lives of people that we support. It is they who give of themselves every day. They are our field's first responders. And so we know that so many of them put their lives on the line and left their families during the pandemic to help support people that we believe in. So many of them contracted COVID. Many of them passed away as a result of it, but yet they were there every day coming to and from work. And yet we cannot as a society stand that we can get a job paying just as much to go work in a Amazon warehouse or drive a truck, which is fine. All work, all honest work is noble. But what we have here is a cause, and we have a profession that should be recognized for what it does. It stands with people. It stands to support them, and it should be recognized in terms of their status as well as a living wage. That's it.
Yeah. Just before Deborah speaks, Joyce, Michelle is here on HeartShare. So Michelle, if you're here, can you just say hello on your end so Joyce can know you're here? Pointing to this, she is here, Joyce.
Okay, no, that's fine. I don't put anybody on the spot.
That's okay. No, I'm not putting on the spot. Just want to let them know that they're here. We have a very high attendance numbers. And I just want to let you know, Tom, the number you see there is not correct. There are some people linked with groups. So I want to let you know, we're almost up to the highest numbers.
Tom,
Yeah.
this
Go
is
ahead,
Deb.
Deb. Go ahead.
Okay, Tom, I appreciate very much because you see, as the chair of the advisory, I hear the parents crying and complaining.
Sure.
I get texts, I get emails, I get Facebook. Well, they don't really put it on Facebook because, we don't want the whole world using what's going on in an inappropriate way. So they'll message me. But I tell them we all have to advocate together. And people don't understand that our children stay children their whole life. No matter how mature we get them, they still have that developmental stability, and it's lifelong. And the other problem we also have, which is partially also with the direct care, is that we have to also update all the Social Security laws too. And ARC is doing that nationwide, because this will help everyone, including when our individuals who are capable and can work, and some of them do like actually being a para or being an assistant para. So we have to also work together to make a lot of changes and updates, and also update how the schools, whether state education from New York State down to our system, how they really evaluate and test the children. Because it's a shame. And I used to be a parent member, and I can tell you the parents who didn't want to acknowledge, they were ashamed, and I finally got a lot of them not to be. But we have to really push also, the earlier they get diagnosed and checked and tested, and then you figure out the best way for them to learn, they have a better life.
Yep.
So
Great.
Thank you, and please keep the advisory council informed of what we can do. And yes, we will be filling those forms out.
Great. Thank you much. Thanks, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Tom, Michelle has a question again. Michelle, go ahead.
Thanks. I have heard that there's a rally coming up in New York City around the DSP crisis. Do you have any specifics on that, Tom?
You know, it's gotten changed so much that I'm not even sure what it is anymore because we were looking to get permits, etc. Let me check on it and I'll pop it up during the chat. Winnie is on top of the stuff and she has been involved in getting permits, etc. So it may be coming up in the next week and a half or so. So let me double check that one and I'll see if I can paste something right into the chat for further information. And stay tuned because Winnie will send out updates and she'll be sending out rally notices and the council will get it. So, but I know it's better for people if you know it's going to be on the 9th of November at 12 o'clock, you can pop it in your calendar and then wait for the official as it comes. But so I'll see, let me see what I can find out in the interim during the rest of the meeting.
Thanks, because we need to make noise. Lots
Yes,
of
we do.
noise.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Thank you. That's no better way to say it. If
Tom,
not us, who will?
Yeah, Tom, I was saving for, unless someone has any other questions, I was gonna say be the last question for me because I was trying to be fair. Tom, regarding also, we need to make it very clear in the IAC as well as all the agencies because there is a big communication and I'm glad you're here today, Tom. You know, and I mentioned this in an email and I mentioned this before and I just want to make this clear, very clearly. Debbie, and you know you've been hearing there's omni testing for the reduced fare card. You heard about the testing for the reduced.
I've heard about it.
Okay.
I'm nowhere near as familiar as you are.
Okay, I know, but
You are the expert. You're the man.
Oh yeah, I am the man because there's one reason. I'm not. They put me as chair of information and technology. But here's the thing. This is what the one thing is going to be. Everyone's going to get confused. This is the card. But the difference about the card, which I'm covering my hand a little bit and I'm putting it a little closer, you see the word RF? That stands for reduced fare. No one actually has it yet. The reason why I'm saying this, Tom, since you are the master leader of IAC, and I can say that because that was from other boroughs said it, and that's from the Bronx said it, so I'm saying it. There is a training coming up soon for people to know how to deal with the omni reduced fare. It's not just a card. A person with a disability can also use their Mr. Phone too. So there is two options to have access, as well as at stores, train stations. And why I'm saying that way, because it's Metro North, all around railroad, you can energize it there as well. There is, MTA is going to be doing a omni training for all different agencies, and I will have that information on my PowerPoint later on. Do I have permission to give your email to the system-wide accessibility if they want to do a training?
Yeah, I mean, we're there to help support trainings like this so that people get informed on how to gain access and things along those lines. Absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever need me to come in to pop in, I will have no problem coming in to, give you guys the itchiness, the tasting of it. But right now, the only card is online is the full fare one, which unfortunately you have to go to the store, pay the $5 charge, which technically it's cheaper than a prepaid credit card because they charge almost $10 to $15. But then you can energize it. It's only the base fare, $275 plus a transfer. But in time, it will be unbelievable more power coming up.
Sure. Okay.
And Tom, getting back now to out of transit world, coming back to the reality, you need to let Chris Treber know there is a bigger problem right now with students with school buses, because it seems schools are not following the IEP. And I know one person here can vouch with me, as well as Debbie and Joyce can vouch with me. And I know my time can agree with me as well. The reason I'm saying this is, I'm sorry to have to say this in a term that I really don't like saying, but the schools are really losing their minds or lost their minds. Either way, you know that in an IEP, there's a transport power. you know that on accessoride on their ID, if they're a personal care attendant, which is stand for abbreviation PCA, if the card says yes, that means a person can go, like Debbie can go. Let's say Debbie has the accessoride, which she does. And let's say if I can't go, Tom, you can take her as her PCA. It's an example. The reason why I'm saying is they're forgetting the rules of transportation. They're thinking it's like telling them, is accessory a bus? Yes. Does it have 4 wheels? Yes. Does an MTA bus have wheels? Yes. They're like, why are they worried? The PCA goes on for free, as well as on Long Island River and Metro North. So where is the worriness in the schools that they don't get it? It's in the if it's in the IEP and you have a transport power taking them from A, home, B, to the school, or C, sometimes after school, which we don't know that because that can happen. We don't know if they have after school, or they'll just go back home. This is where I'm hearing the problems are. And I have to tell you, I have never seen so much. They're always leaving out a lot of special ed students, District 75, non-District 75. Especially parents cannot even go from one end of the borough, which is Manhattan, I'm going to say, all the way to Coney Island. It is not right. When you think I'm telling this, it's like it's unbelievable. What is the deal? They're forgetting that students on wheelchairs, walkers, canes, they needed the buses too, but they're only worrying about, they're not really caring about it anymore.
Chris, we've had students on buses for 2 hours or more.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is there's not enough drivers. The problem is that OPT seems to be a hot mess. They've always been that way.
Yeah.
They've apparently, because they made the news for students in their district schools, not special ed schools, and it's bad all over. We're hoping that, and that's one thing where we're going to be recommending to Mr. Adams, that he take a serious look at OPT and get leadership in there who understands and will hold bus companies accountable when they don't deliver people on time, when they don't follow the protocols that are necessary. And so that's one of the recommendations I believe we're going to make to him. I think he probably already knows it. Again, I think the article in the Daily News really captured an awful lot of what the dysfunction has been in that department. So I appreciate you bringing it up, and we're going to pop it and push it along as best we can. We'll see what happens.
I thank you so much, Tom. I know we have to move on because, Tom, I know you have to get somewhere in 1 minute now. So I do want to thank you, Tom, with all that great information.
Thank you, Tom.
And Joyce, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you, Tom.
Sure.
And Tom, if you need myself to show up at meetings, let me know.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's move on to our next famous person also, representing the Brooklyn DDRO OPWDD, which I'm going to skip a page. So Nina, are you there?
Yes, I am. Do you hear me?
I can hear you so clear that I have to lower the
I can hear
volume
you
down.
very well. Thank you, Nina.
Okay,
Nina, I can tell you how clear you are. You're so clear, I have to lower the volume. Is that a good one?
Thank you for having me. And thank you, Tom, for giving such an amazing presentation. I really enjoy listening to you. And either in the Bronx on a regular basis. Thank you. And there are a lot of things that I have to learn from you. So I'm going to speak today about a couple of key things that OPWDD is working on and the activities we engaged in. As you probably are aware, that Secretary for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services confirmed that public health emergency continues to exist. And on October 15, he made the determination that the public health, PHE, public health emergency is continuing in the United States. and what it means for OPWDD, that the flexibilities that were implemented during COVID, all the telehealth flexibilities will continue for the next 90 days. Okay. I heard some feedback earlier or some questions about state staff and requirements for vaccinations and for testing. On the September 4, our governor issued a new guidance for state agencies that all effective October 12, all state employees that are not covered by New York State Department of Health regulations are required to show proof of vaccinations or to be subject to mandatory weekly testing. And this is what all state employees are doing right now. If we don't have the proof of vaccination, we have to submit the proof of testing. And unfortunately, the vaccine hesitancy continues to exist among staff. Okay, the update with the FMAP, and as you know that, and Tom gave a very good comprehensive overview with the FMAP approval. We have a CMS approved most of the part of the agencies of our plan. And CMS approved all of the proposed direct support professional workforce initiatives. We presented 4 initiatives on how OPWDD plans to spend FMAP money, in what directions we want to go. And our 4 main areas of focus are improving the OPWDD workforce and addressing the challenges of high turnover and staffing shortages. And we will be investing in workforce performance incentives, the IDD workforce longevity, retention bonuses, DSP workforce development grants, and workforce recruitment initiatives. We will be expanding residential opportunities through the integrated housing pilot program and providing incentives for development of more integrated residential services. We will be expanding crisis services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities through the expansion of the new CIDD program that previously is known as the START program. And we will be modernizing OPWDD IT infrastructure to allow for the expenditure of electronic devices. Okay, so OPWDD estimated that the amount of funding available for New York State through American Rescue Plan could be about $740 million. And this is only an estimate, and at this point, this amount can change. So OPWDD, we have engaged with the Department of Health and other state agencies on implementing the initiatives and we have also submitted a new application for an Appendix K of the waiver to support agency initiatives and activities needed to implement through the FMAP plan. And once the plan, the Appendix K application receive the full federal approval, we will announce the opportunities for taking part in the system enhancement initiatives contained within the plan. And all of that information is available to the public on our OPWDD website / American Rescue Plan. So that information, you can go to the website and look for more on that. With a 507 planning, we also met with the stakeholders. We had meetings throughout the state, and we identified key areas within our service delivery system on how we can improve. And OPWDD put together the plan. The plan was submitted, I believe it's went to the chamber, and it's being reviewed right now. So we will have more of that in early November. All right. And the 507 plan will examine the use of CAS, Coordinated Assessment System, to help determine individuals' needs for certified residential settings. We will be looking to improve the efficiency of OPWDD certified residential opportunities process. We are looking at how to enhance capacity among voluntary provider agencies to support the individuals with high needs, how to improve the ISS rental subsidy programs for individuals who are looking for independent living, and the ways to improve our family care programs and ICFs. All right. With the workforce and the recruitment, I just want to add to everything that was already discussed today that with the FMAP money, this year we have the additional opportunity available to support the direct support workforce. The workforce initiative make up the largest portion of the OPWDD FMAP plan with the $554 million dedicated to workforce incentives and bonuses, capacity building, and recruitment. And OPWDD, we are committed in responding to DSP workforce challenges through the variety of initiatives. We are proposing performance incentives, longevity bonuses, workforce development grants for providers, and an agency-wide workforce recruitment initiatives. We are working with the Department of Labor in several ways to include career centers, using career centers for to host exams, conduct recruitment, and promote job opportunities. We also working together with the SUNY systems, community colleges on developing programs and seeking new ways we can leverage the SUNY system to build our workforce. Okay, so that is the update for me. Do you have are there any questions?
I'm going to start with Joyce first. Joyce, do you have a question?
No, not at this time. Thank you very much, Nina, for your presentation. That was very helpful information.
Thank you.
Deborah, Chair of the Advisory.
Yes, Nina, thank you for the information. My only thing is for now, you know, the statewide hasn't been able, Family Support Council, we haven't been able to meet because of our commissioner, resigning. But you haven't heard if there's going to be any new appointments yet, or you don't know yet?
We don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that yet, and Tom probably would know faster. And
yeah,
we are waiting to hear from our leadership.
Yes, and I thank you very much because this information is important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we, does anyone have any questions for Nina? I'm a little surprised. I'm used to seeing people in this month asking questions for her. Let's remind you, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat at this time. Or you can please unmute yourself. Please identify yourself so we know who's speaking. Okay, Nina, the only thing I'm just going to say is when you have a chance, there was an email that was sent out a week ago. Can you respond to that email? I don't want to discuss it now because it's we're on recording.
All right.
That's since no one else has any other questions, Nina, I want to thank you, and I have to tell you, you do an excellent job on those reports because I actually understand you.
Thank you. I'm trying.
No, Nina, you don't have to say the word try. You do excellent. I'm serious. If I'm a person that needs to understand your report, I understand it very You go right to the facts. And that's the thing I love. You and Tom are always with the facts. Love it.
Nina, you were speaking at a way that anyone with any form of auditory processing was able to get it. So thank you.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
No problem.
So I do want to say thank you since no one else has any other questions. Yes, Joyce?
No, no question. I didn't
Oh,
raise,
because you're unmuted. That's why I was like, something wrong?
no.
Okay, I'm just double checking. So we want to thank Nina from the Brooklyn DDO representing OPWDD. So we're going to move on to our next person if he's here, because I don't know. Gavin Myers, are you here? And if you're on the phone, *6 is to unmute. Let's see. Somebody just put in the chat. No, that's just Matthew again. All right, then I'm going to move on to, okay, since Gavin is not around, I will mention later on that report, which we don't have to worry. Now, our first chairperson's report, since Joyce, you're already on the screen. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I wanted to welcome everybody. I know we haven't met since July. I hope everyone had a good summer, and we're continuing on, coming into winter now. And just wanted to say COVID is still around. It has not disappeared. I read someplace today where it said we'll be living with COVID for a very long time. We know there's different mutations out there now. Most agencies continue to have challenges with staff, with vaccine hesitancy, and are concerned if a mandate ever came out about requiring staff to be vaccinated. I know many agencies are requiring staff to do the weekly testing. I know we do, and that's been working out. Staff are required to submit their tests every week, and we haven't had any issues with that, and that's probably the way we're going to go. We continue, I know across the board, agencies continue to educate staff on the vaccine. And sometimes we have some people that convert and do get the vaccine, and we'll continue on that. Day programs across the board have been reopening. Tom did talk about the challenges with the bus companies. That continues to be a challenge as everybody else. The bus companies cannot hire drivers and matrons and get them trained quick enough. So that will continue and hopefully get better over time, so we can get everybody back out to program, and back out to used to what they were doing prior to 2 years ago. I wanted to also announce that there will be a CAS meeting, which is very important, that I encourage everybody to attend. This will be presented by Al Pruitt. I see Chris just put it up on the screen right now. From OPWDD, the 5 borough councils are sponsoring this. We've waited a long time to get him to come and do a presentation on the CAS. Although the CAS has been around for several years, it's had different iterations, and there's a lot of concerns about it, especially the ones that were done previously, even currently. Is it as objective as it needs to be, or is it more subjective? And it's a little concerning, as down the road we know, or we've been told, that the CAS will be used for determining funding that agencies provide. So we want to make sure that we understand what the CAS is, how it needs to be completed, and that we advocate when there is a problem, because there is a short time frame. Once the CAS is completed, that changes can be made. And again, we want to listen and become as knowledgeable as we can about it. So that's November 4th from 2 to 4. I'm hoping that session will be recorded for people that can't make it. But please, everyone, we encourage you to register. You have to register through this login. The information will come to you because in the past, I know that they've been Zoom bombed. I guess that's the word, where
It's
people
correct.
don't have the information get on and somehow or other disrupt the meeting. So that's the reason we just can't send it to everybody. So again, I encourage people to come on, and probably in November, the November meeting, we'll talk a little bit about the CAS presentation and what happened. So we'll move on from that.
Joy,
Yes.
we have questions, and Tom has something that just came in also. But before we do that, the answer to one person's question, that information is also available on our website, on the Advisory Council's website. So I will put that in the chat so you guys can get onto it. And if you email us, you get that message. There's a link there as well. So I did just put that up as well. So, and Tom, if you're still here, if you want to say something, adding to what you just wrote.
Yeah, you see that the new date and time for the workforce rally is Tuesday, November 9th at 10:45. Often when we're doing these rallies, we want to make sure we get press coverage, and we have put it at certain times of the day. And not necessarily on a Friday or a Monday, because we want to get their attention. So it is likely to be at City Hall Park. So but the rest of the details will be forthcoming, and we'll have lots of advertisements and messages going out there so that people can come down to the rally. So that's what we have for now, but Winnie will be sending things out, so keep an eye out for that, and hope to see you there.
Thank you, Tom. I would again encourage as many people as they can to go to that rally.
Thank you, Tom.
That we show numbers and that raise our voices to the concerns and letting people know we need services, we need funding, and funding especially for our direct support professionals. I just want to also mention that we will continue the remote meetings. This seems to have been working, and I personally myself am not going to large meetings or even small meetings. It's it's still, even though people may be vaccinated, you can still get COVID, and I know several situations where that's happened. They don't get it as bad, but you can still get it. And it's, so we will be keeping the remote format, at least for the foreseeable future, for meetings. And I encourage everyone to come on. We meet usually the fourth Wednesday of the month, but for November and December, because of the holidays, we'll be meeting the third Wednesday of November and the third Wednesday of December. So we don't interfere with Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're hoping that 20% salary bump for direct care professionals gets approved quickly. We know it's been taking a long time, and we've been hearing about it, and staff has been hearing about it. And it would be a wonderful Christmas surprise if it can happen before then. Staff have been waiting. Many of our staff have worked through COVID. Agencies have been unable to acknowledge that. And we really need to acknowledge the extraordinary work of our direct support professionals during that time and continuing. They have been there through thick and thin, and we really need to applaud them, but also recognize them with that salary bump. So any way we can push that to happen, we will. And I also just want to request if there's any families on the phone. I've gotten a couple of calls from families who've have had difficulty accessing services, either through their CCO or reaching out to DRO. Please reach out to us and let us know so we can assist. Whether it's hooking you up with a CCO, giving you the information, or reaching out to the DDRO for information you might need. Since again, things really aren't happening in person right now, we want to make sure that everybody gets access to the services they may need. So we're here for that, and please let us know. And we do have an election coming up next Tuesday, as everybody knows. By the 9th, we will have a new mayor.
Actually, January 1st, Joyce.
No, but by the 9th of November, we'll know who the new mayor will be.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will be there at the rally on the 9th as well. Because that support, again, is invaluable.
Well, send it to their Facebook. You know, they have a Facebook, Twitter. They're on every social media. So everybody who's can hear my voice, go onto social media and invite them to the rally.
And
Yes.
Joyce, yes, and Joyce, to add in to you, we have another person had a question. Debbie, stand by where you are, because I want to thank one of our other parents just made it easy for me. They just sent you the link. It is going to be, I think, live stream. I'm going to ask her if she can unmute herself. Rosia, can you unmute yourself? I'm guessing she's must be stuck at something else. Oh. Okay, she's having difficulties. Okay. The bottom line is the link is there, but I remind everyone that information, as Joyce is mentioning about November, that information is still available on our website, and it's also on our advisory council email. So when you get that, it comes reversible. So it means you'll get a message and the link clicking on. That means it will work, and you can register and put your questions in. So I hope that answered that question. And if anyone has any questions for Joyce, please can put that in the chat, or please raise your hand at this time, because next person will be Deborah. Deborah, the chair of the Brooklyn Advisory Council.
Okay, you ready for me?
Yes, 1 second. I have to remind everyone, please, everyone, mute. The only people should be on off mute right now on speaking is Joyce Levin and Deborah Greif. And a reminder for the phone people, the reason why you're muted is because we cannot have echo, and it's *6 to mute, *6 to unmute. If you have a question, *9 to raise your hand. *9 to raise your hand. Thank you. I apologize, Madam Chairs. Please
No
continue,
problem.
Madam Chair Greif.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, first I want to thank everybody who's on today. I want to thank Tom and Nina, who gave us really great information. A lot of families have been contacting us because of they're having issues with getting transportation, their services, and we understand how hard and difficult it is, and we're doing our best to assist you. We will assist and aid you in whatever way we can. The other important thing is, first I want to say it's very important for the families to do the cast, to go to that cast. Why? Because since they're changing how they're going to evaluate and write up our children's life plan, it is very important, because you want the right information, but you also want to understand why they're now using the cast. I have been trained partially not to do it, but why it's being done. The statewide members were trained on how to understand and how to make corrections. So it is extremely important, because this is for our children, and we want to make sure that they can get whatever they really need to help them live a quality of life. The other thing I also want to state is this, as you heard before with Nina, the statewide council has not met yet because of the changes with our commissioner resigning and our acting one, Roger Bearden. As soon as we know what it is, as you know, only the statewide members will be on one line. They will allow non-members to observe. Now, I also want to say I'm going to give 2 dates for the next joint meetings. And yes, the advisory council is very glad we were able to host and help the Brooklyn DD Council, because it is extremely important. And we realize that if the two of us paired together, there would be strength in numbers, and we can advocate together. Now, as you see, the next 2 joint meetings is the 3rd Wednesday. It's going to be November 17th and December 15th. Those are the next 2 dates for the joint meetings. At the moment, don't have the speaker lined up completely yet, but and I agree with Joyce, we will be having to discuss about the CAS, because that is important for both the parent den, the individual self-advocates, as well as the agencies. So everyone, the individuals who are being tested will get their right services because you have the right information in. The other thing is, please have parents vote. I don't care. I'm going to say this way. You vote for whoever you feel would be the next mayor, but also we have in New York City Controller, Public Advocate, our New York City Council members, some of the judges, there's 2 or 3 propositions on, as well as we may have, I'm not sure if there's one little state meet because someone had to resign, but it goes by your district, your voting, your assembly district, and your election district. Please do not give up your right to vote. If you need, you have the right to request to use the ballot marking device. If you know that it's hard for you to see because it's a gigantic pencil that magnifies it, so you'll have an easier time, and they can't say no. Only reason they'll say no is it's broken. Shouldn't be, and you have the right to make a complaint. So please vote, go to vote. Also, everyone, if you possibly can show up to the rallies, yes, the reason it's very important that we have our direct care professionals are paid the right wages. It is not easy to take care of our children. We should know we're taking care of them for life. And we need to make sure that the elected officials understand what is the needs for these services. Now, if we don't have, there's another issue that not everybody sees. If we don't have direct care professionals working with our children, so our children go to a program, whatever type of services they need, that means mom or dad will have to not go to work, and you lose tax, the tax base goes down. So it is extremely important for all of us to let them know how important it is that the direct care professional staff is paid a good wage. We need them there. This way they'll be paid well enough, and they won't have to bounce from job to job or leave, because they'll have enough money to pay their rent and take care of their families too. Is extremely important. Now, if you can't make the rally, you can put on any form of social media and you can go to the elected officials, their social media page, the newspapers, TV stations. If everybody did this, we may be able to get the appropriate changes. Also, please listen to when you see in emails, ARC. If they are doing a very important thing right now, all our children, because of a 1939 law that has now been updated, all our children are called disabled adult children. That means that they collect, if a parent, and I'm going to repeat this every time until I see better improvements in the federal government. That means our children can collect under their parents' Social Security, the one who made more money, whether mom or dad. If they become disabled, retire, or pass away, the child has the legal right to collect those benefits. Unfortunately, sometimes if you do not make sure to let Medicaid know that they're DACs, then you think you have to do the spend down. No, they don't have to do a spend down. After 24 months, that's for everybody. Then they can collect Medicare, and they will collect under their parents' Social Security. The reason why we needed the wages updated, they're going by wages of parents who have not worked for more than 20, 30 years. We need them to update to have what the wages and how much parents make now, so that our children do not accidentally make $1 more than mom or dad and lose their Medicaid waiver. That's not good for us. We need this. and we need to make sure that they have a better, correct system. So when they claim they want us to go to work, then fix the Social Security laws. That'll make it easier for persons with developmental disability and all other disabilities will be able to work. So as I said, if any families need to have any issues or help, please contact us through the Advisory Council email. Our office number is 718-642-8512. And I thank Mrs. Ann Menino, who monitors and oversees the phone, because we're there. We're going to hold each other's hands because we've been through a crisis with COVID-19 and also with the loss of so many of our direct care professionals because of COVID, but also because of wages. So with that, Christopher, we need to turn it back to Joyce because we have to do the
I know, before we do that, there was a question for both of you guys.
Okay.
And I'm just reading. Joyce, you there?
I'm here, Chris.
Okay, because they asked me to please read this to you. Joyce, as you are the chair of the DD Council, Deborah, as you are the chair of the Advisory Council, we want to thank you for your support and guidance and strength. And they want me to make it, and I just wanted to say this. They want me to say thank you. We will advocate. Please let us know. It's saying thank you, and you're asking how can we keep informed. The main thing, as I just said, and I know Ms. Gripe just said, and Joyce said it, please make sure you visit our website, which I just put it up there just now again. So, and before I continue, someone is into me.
Chris, who sent that? Who
sent that to us?
Let's just say they're asking not me to say it, but I will write it on a text message to both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
Because they're asking. No. Let's make it clear. They don't want to say their name, please.
No, I'm not saying that. I want to say thank you to whoever said that. But the other thing is that both Joyce and I are on the same page. You know, you as a parent or a family member know how difficult and what you have done to take care of your child. Use that and keep it short and facts, but be factual. Because after a while, I mean, yes, it is hard, and we sometimes want to start to cry because of the stress. Try not to for one reason. You have to get your point there, and they need the information. Sometimes it's better to actually talk to the staff or the elected officials because they can give you more. Anyway, the elected official gives it to them anyway. But also when they're running for offices and you see their rallies, go up to them and tell them right at a rally. That helps. Joyce, you have anything else you want to add?
No, but thank you to that person who sent that. And, we're here to give out the information and support as best as we can, like Deborah said. Thank you.
Thank you.
And speaking of Joyce,
Joyce.
Yes, Joyce, it's your turn now.
Yeah.
Subcommittee time. Debbie can mute herself. So then Joyce, the reason why we're doing subcommittee, now we're up to subcommittee reports. Before we introduce the subcommittees, Joyce, you want to say something about it?
The subcommittee for transition has been on hold. Mary Christopher, who greatly has run the committee for so many years, because of the shortages at her school, actually has been called to perform duties at the school that really prevent her from doing the transition subcommittee at this point. So hopefully things will calm down a bit and she'll be back on track in November. The other subcommittee, the children's subcommittee, also has not met. Again, Teresa being the principal has just been overwhelmed and, with all the issues of running the school and the lack of staff, it's been very difficult for her, the committees. So hopefully she'll be able to have a committees at some point, a meeting, hopefully in November or early December.
The date is up there.
It's November 9th. Okay. So I want to say we really appreciate Teresa's work on this. And and also appreciate her, her being a principal and having to deal with all the issues at her school, and fitting in the committee is really greatly appreciated. So thank you.
And just to want everyone know that we do not, as a vice chair, and Joyce, Joyce, where'd you go? Joyce?
Still here, Chris?
Okay, making sure. As vice chair, we did not say the subcommittees were terminated. As Joyce just said, they're been on hold or being held right now. The main thing is, as you heard from Tom said, we're asking you, I know Carrie, you want to say a few words. I know I got you right there, stand by. The main thing is the subcommittees, well, it is going to be a little difficult, so I'm going to say note, please always check the day before if you know that subcommittee is still coming on or it's been postponed. Please check the day before, not first thing in the morning, because it will make it easier so in case something changed. We do need all your supports for Teresa, Mary Christopher, because right now they are working really extra hard. So please send a support to them and send them a good energy boost.
Chris, just one more thing I wanted to say is that I know some of the other boroughs have been able to do the virtual fairs, and we did one last spring. Hopefully in the spring again, we'll be able to pull off another virtual either transition meeting or a combination of transition and family support meeting. But I want to say, it works when we have people to assist. I can't do that and on my own, neither can Chris and neither can Debbie. So I also will be reaching out to people to assist with setting up perhaps another virtual fair sometime in the spring.
And Joyce, and we will, we'll work on that together when we get to that point, because I agree. But we can talk later on that. Carrie, you want to say something?
I do, Chris. Thank you.
Yes. Hi.
The Children's Services Committee actually did meet last month. We met last week, and do you want the report now?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so the Children's Services Committee met last week, and we have decided to sponsor 2 workshops for the spring. The first, one will be on the transition planning from preschool to school age services. And my dyslexia just kicked as I had it right in front of me, and I've now totally blanked on what the second one is going to be on, which is actually the first one. Oh, autism. It's on autism, and it will be in Spanish. Translation into English will be provided, but the workshop itself will be in Spanish. And we're hoping to do that in February, March, and then the transition workshop we're planning on doing May, June, since we will have missed the transition period for this year, for the kids aging out, for the turning 5s for this year. So we want to get that in place so that families going into September next year have a sense, because they have to be working on this over the summer and such. So that was our meeting. It was wonderful to meet. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Carrie,
Yeah.
just one. Who's
Hi,
speaking?
Carrie, what day was it? What day did you have the meeting?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday, which was it was Joyce and I were, and I did mention that to you, Ms. Greif, as well.
Yes.
Joyce was notified about that as well.
Yeah.
Let me just get to my question. Carrie, there is one workshop I hope you guys can think of doing, because there is a problem going around in schools, and I mentioned this earlier with Tom. We need to do a workshop on IEP, a refresher course on that, because, and the reason why I'm saying that, because and I know a lot of schools do not follow the IEP contract. And right now it is a bigger issue that's coming in. And I think because it's the children and going almost to transition, it is a problem. We need to work on something together as one at this time, because the school issues are dangerously, really worse than we ever seen before. So we need to, and I know some of our elected officials have been, I'm going to mention one elected official has done a press conference. Was Assemblywoman Matilda from the 46th and 70th district has brought up something about that because of lack of transportation, or let them stay at home and since they already have a laptop on the top, and since that's still something they need to follow the IEP, requesting what the family and the child needs, because you don't know, that child might have a low immune system. So can we please put that in your category?
Yes, we absolutely can. In the meantime, I would suggest people look on the Include NYC website. I believe they're doing 2 or 3 workshops on the virtual workshops on the IEP process between now and May or March. I've just seen them. I can put the link in the chat, but they are doing workshops on that. It will take us some time to organize something, but yes, absolutely, that's always a priority. And it was one of the things we discussed and decided not to, because Include NYC was doing several of them.
I think Include should be coming in to join with us, because this issue is really dangerously high, and with all the combined strength, we need to work together.
All right, so I will put the information.
Hold on, Ms. Gripe. Hold on. Let Carrie finish, and then you come up, because
Chris, I will put the information in the chat, and I will send it to you so that you can post it on the webpage too.
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah.
Sure, no worries.
Yeah.
Right.
Ms. Gripe, go ahead.
Deborah.
It's very important for parents to know the difference between a committee of preschool education IEP and then an IEP when they go into elementary. Parents do not understand how to read and even how to do any input.
Sure.
So even though I know Include does an excellent job, we have to also run and do a few workshops, because it has to be done at various days and times, so parents and also these care coordinators can understand the importance, because the IEP is a legal document. And not every parent, and the schools try to get around it. And we have to, this is a time where we have to be very firm to make sure, because it's the child who's going to be affected the most. Sure. And that's why, even though I'm not putting Include down, I think we have to bring in not just Include, but other agencies that also work with families who have children with developmental disability, who do education workshop, and also even have Chris Treba explain to the families too, because if we don't, we're going to have more problems, because the New York City DOE is not listening. Look, they brought in pre-kindergarten. Now they have it for 3-year-olds. They are hurting kids with disabilities. So we have to start training everybody. Okay.
Thank you, Deborah. I couldn't agree more. And that's one of the things, of course, that will be addressed in the Turning 5 workshop, the difference between the IEP in preschool special education and school age. If you have suggestions for presenters, if you could email them to me, I would appreciate it. Suggestions for presenters and their contact information. I'd appreciate that.
Yes, that I agree. And I just don't want to cause an echo, because we have some people unmuting themselves, and we got to be really careful. So I want to make sure I heard you clearly, Carrie. But I thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure. So right now, that is the meeting date. So if anyone has any other questions for Carrie, please speak to her on the chat lane. Next, thank you, Carrie.
Or email me. I'll put my email on there.
Well, thank you.
I also want to say thank you to Carrie. Thank you.
Second that emotion. So Carrie, I know you're maybe blushing right now. See? Double team. Now moving on to information, our new subcommittee, which is Deborah and Rose Sal. Rose, are you there first? Unless you disappear on me.
I'm here. Good morning, everyone.
Yes. And the reason I'm going to introduce these two young ladies, and I'm saying young, they're both, Rose represents the provider, Debbie represents the parent. So get ahead, you guys.
Go ahead first. I'm going to stay on mute until you're done.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This has been a wonderful meeting. I just want to give a quick update on the Family and Provider Information Committee. So just so everyone knows, we changed the name. This is the formerly known the CCO Coordination Committee meeting that we used to have. I know I got a few emails from people saying that are we still having the CCO meeting? This is now replacing what we used to call the CCO meeting. I felt like the Family and Provider Information Committee, as we all from the Brooklyn DD Council as a team collaboration had discussed, this title, this name change will be better for, to provide services and referral and information to our families and the provider. So we've met this month, October 13th. We had a really fruitful, productive conversations. We had over 20 people on the line. It was great. It wasn't just CCOs, it was CCOs and families and provider. So we want to continue to have these meetings. We are meeting every second Wednesday of the month. So our next meeting is going to be November 10th. I encourage you, the same as the Brooklyn DD Council, this subcommittee, I encourage you, if you want to get information, what's going on with the providers, what are really happening with our families, this is a really meeting, to attend. Please, we welcome all ideas in terms of topics. We've already highlighted for our for our next meeting, some of the topics is going to be self-direction. We have topic on the front door, eligibility process, a refresher for everyone, as well as our care managers. So I encourage you all, to attend the meeting. We'll be meeting again November 10th, starting at 10 a.m. sharp. Debbie also and I run this committee together. And for the last meeting, I just want to say that we had, what was his name from Child Welfare Services?
ACS.
Cliff Davies.
ACS, yep.
Yes.
Yes.
He explained what ACS does for children under 18. He did a teeny brief also about APS, which is Adult Protective Services. But he also explained what his unit does, which works with children with disabilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he may also do a presentation in the future for us.
Yes, we did agree to invite him back to the presentation for us. It was, again, like I said, this was a very great meeting, information session, great collaboration. So I would like to see more involvement on the provider side. So for those of you who are on the line, if you are from provider agency, if you can send or identify at least one staff members, to attend this meeting, they will definitely receive a lot of information to bring back to you, so you all can be informed in order to continue the wonderful services we are providing to our family members and individuals.
And I'm also encouraging, not just the families, but I'm also encouraging agencies, please, if we need to know what programs are working, what programs have openings, because I get calls or, I get contacted by families as well as other agencies who need to know. So this helps us all if you can be there and participate with us. We need to keep and share our information so we can help the families, as well as we're helping the providers too. So again, we hope to see you next month on November 10th. If you have any ideas for speakers, please contact Rose and myself. Thank you.
And I do want to thank Rose and Debbie, because that meeting, and let me just make it clear, even their first meeting, and I want to say this clearly, even for Joyce's here, every time we start a new committee, it's always low numbers. For the first time in history, I have never seen the numbers, just like even today, higher than ever. And I want to see that more often, please. And I encourage even parents, individuals, agencies, show up, because we love hearing from you, especially, and we definitely always want to hear from the great in person also, Carrie Banks, Tom, if he's still there, Nina. Information is the strongest tool, and I will say this, please try to attend. And this information is here, and I will explain later on with different codes and stuff. Does anyone have any questions for the two ladies for this committee? Because I know I was reading some chats before I go there. Joyce, do you have a question as chair of the DD Council?
No. Excellent job, but no
Okay.
question.
Okay. Then I'm going to read one thing from the chat. It seems you two are getting compliments from that committee, saying that committee is really an excellent committee. Well, I want to thank you. And that person was actually a parent. So I do want to say thank you to that parent. Um, and Ms. Grubb knows who I'm talking about. It's one of her advisory council exec members. So I'm just going to say that. That's what I'm saying. It's respect. So we want to thank you, but we do encouragement. Now, moving on to our agenda, since we are running a good moment, do we have any representative elected officials in today? I know I had Maria Mark was in the house. And if any elected officials are on the phone, please star 9 to raise your hand so I know that's you. Maria Mark, are you here? Because it's hard to track you with over a lot of names. I'm guessing she left. Okay, we did have Maria Mark representing a city council now. She just saying, everyone have a great time. Happy Veterans Day and everything else. And we'll just move on from there. Since there is no elected official representative, I will move on quickly to my report. And I hope everyone please pay close attention. Wait a second before I proceed, because someone just put something in the chat. No, just Carrie bring all the good stuff. Thank you, Carrie, for that good stuff. Just to remind everyone, please, as you know, and I mentioned this way before the meeting started, not just Ring Central, but Zoom, WebEx, whatever virtual you're using, it's going to be updated as of now. Please be clear that systems like Zoom and everyone are going to be updated. So I'm only going to be concerned right now with Ring Central, because right now Ring Central has gave me the information to make it easy for a person with a disability or any kind, or for seniors. First step is you see the name called New MVP Ring Central. It's the same thing as Zoom, but upgraded more. And I'm just going to screen right here. Just to remind everyone, please write this down. To make it easy, you can still use the old one or the new one. They're both the same. Please make sure you write it down on this piece of paper. v.ringcentral.com/welcome or join. Once you do that, and this is the reason why I'm going to use, we're going to use our imagination. You will see this popping up on your screen. Number one is always enter your name and whatever you want to put, your agency name, whatever. Meeting ID number. Please make sure you read the number clearly. And remember, subcommittees and general meetings have separate meeting ID numbers. We cannot combine them because then it causes a hack. We don't want hackers. So we have to be very careful. Once you finish all that, you press Mr. Joint button. Mr. Joint button will then go to the next part, which you normally see that. You will see this. Means your screen is on. Let's say your screen is actually on now, like you're on with me now. The first step you should always remember is always put this in. You'll see this picture, click on it, and once you know it's on, you'll see the picture of a microphone. Change that to a mute button. Your video, your clip on participate. Now, the difference with the participate will be changing next month. Raise your hand will be also out here, so you can see that. You can also always still see the chat. There will be also caption, but I'm going to warn you, the caption is still being upgraded for more ADA accessibility, because a lot of our groups, and I do want to thank some of our self-advocacy groups and some of the other advocacy groups, always mention that we need more ADA accessibility. Well, it's going to be done and should be ready. The share screen is still the same. Everything else is still the same. So please make sure that you are coming on, and always remember to link in. The information will be on the emails as well as on the website beginning next week. So please be alert. Now, as I remind you that all our chairpersons have mentioned, please go out to vote. You don't have to do the affidavit ballot now, because now you're up to early voting. So if you want to track where your location is, please go to findmypolingsite.voting.nyc. Please make sure you please do that as well. So therefore, that is there. And I see we have someone just responded to me with elected official, which I'll get back to in just a second. Locations, if you're having a problem, you don't like what's going on, you do have the right to contact your Board of Elections, which are all located in all 5 boroughs, including the electionvoting.nyc. So please make sure you all voted for that. And it doesn't matter if your name is not on there and you know the address is still there, you can still use an affidavit ballot there, and you can still use the ballot marking device. If there's a problem, make sure you see a coordinator at that polling site. If they do not help you, call your polling site immediately and put your complaint in and demand that I want to vote. You have the right to vote. So please make sure you do that. Now, due to the elections, when the Advisory Council Outreach Update will not be meeting that day. So I am reminding everyone to please make sure that the next one will be December, and I will be doing something special, but I will say that next month. Reminding everyone, as I mentioned with Tom, the Omni reduced fare card is not ready yet. As you saw me doing my picture before, we're doing the test. There are 60 people doing it. 2 of them you know, which is me and Deborah Greif. Deborah represents the senior and accessory. I represent the disability. We have been testing this out, and we have been seeing so far it's been working perfectly. And to remind you, the reduced fare Omni card is not just a card. You can also do it by your phone. There is a training coming up on that. You can always contact the system-wide accessibility. That information is also available on our website. Now, does anyone have any questions? Please make sure. And I know that I'm seeing connecting a heart. Okay. Ellie Grant, can you unmute yourself? Because I think you represent an elected official.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Fine. I was trying to look for you. That's why. You want to say? You're on the screen. Go ahead.
So I'm representing the office of Senator Roxanne Prasad in District 19th in Brooklyn. She sends her greetings, and we do have a Halloween trick-or-treating event coming up this Friday between 2 and 5 p.m. We invite every children to come by. We have goodies. We also are participating this Saturday with the 63rd Precinct for a breast cancer and domestic violence event, and everybody's invited to that. And that's about it for now. Thank you so much for having me.
There is a question. Can you,
Okay.
you put something here on the chat that says also we're having a food distribution. Can you explain that? And can you put your phone number? Yeah.
Food distribution.
Yeah.
Yes, tomorrow we have a food distribution. What that means, it's another word for food pantry, if that makes sense.
Yes. Can you,
so that will be at Brooklyn Houses. That's a NYCHA development here in Brooklyn, and that's running from 11 till supplies last, which is usually between 1 and 2 p.m.
Can you please, somebody's asking me, can you please put your telephone number and information?
Right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Ellie, I do want to thank you. Before you go, I just want to check. Joyce or Debbie, do you have something you want to add?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I want to ask one question. If our parents who have children who are over 18 with vulnerability want to participate with the for the Halloween, will there be a problem?
I'm sorry, Deborah. Can you ask me again if the participants are over what age?
All right, they're over 18. They have developmental disabilities.
Yeah, they're welcome. They're welcome. They're welcome to come by.
All right, thank you very much.
You're
So we'll
very
make
welcome,
sure that it's placed through, because sometimes it's one thing, and then when they say, yeah, bring them in, and we bring them in, and the kids they're told no.
Don't worry, I'll be
Okay.
here.
All right,
I'll be here.
thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
And just for the record, no one has anybody complained about that. So that's actually a good sign. They said they really appreciate the senator. So we do want to thank her very much. Is there any other elected official representative here? Otherwise, I'm going to proceed. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on my report? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to my favorite part. I'm just going to move on because we don't want to take too long. So I am going to go to announcements. So if anyone has an announcement, please, it is the time because right now is as I'm moving up. Here we go. It is time for announcements. I am going to go first with, okay, give me a second because I know I was looking at the chat. Somebody asked me first. So that person is going first. Actually, Shahan is up, so she can please, I'm going to say, is that Gregor from Heartshare? Can you please unmute yourself?
Well, I'm not from Heartshare.
Oh,
but my name's Gregory.
Gregory, thank you. It's hard to tell. Go ahead, Gregory, you're up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gregory Fruben. I am a representative of the Mid-Island YJCC, which is in Long Island, but they've expanded their access coordination program to Brooklyn. So I am a Brooklyn native, parent, and access coordinator, and I provide a free service supporting those who are seeking OPWDD eligibility and or having other difficulty with access to services. I'm a licensed master of social work, and I can help anyone get over that difficult hump with OPWDD eligibility, assist with referrals for evaluations, and just navigate the process in general. And I have a wealth of knowledge as both a social worker and as a parent of a child with developmental disability that receives OPWDD services. I will put my contact information in the chat again now, and I've got plenty of room to take on clients. Thank you, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here with you all.
Any questions for him? Okay, thank you.
I have one.
Go ahead, Ms. Greif.
If they want to go to where you are in the Y, is there transportation provided or not?
That's a great question. I work out of 2 locations in Brooklyn. You can see me at the Hebrew Educational Society. That's where I am today. I also work out of the Shorefront Y in Brighton Beach. So I can meet clients directly there. I can also potentially be available for meeting clients elsewhere in Brooklyn if that is a need. I don't have specific access to transportation services for clients.
All right. Please put that full information in the chat for us, please. Thank you.
Just to make sure that no one tries to say we did something wrong. So we want to make it very clear and be safe. Okay, does anyone else have a question for him? Otherwise, you can ask his questions on the chat. Carrie Banks, it's showtime.
Hi, I'm going to be brief.
No, just come on, just go. No briefs.
So we've got a bunch of really cool workshops coming up. One is in partnership with Include NYC, and that's about the transition process. Of course, we will have our one-to-one assistance and support, or monthly one-to-one assistance and support phone calls in November. It's November 10th. But you can reach out to me to make an appointment if you're having trouble, say with that IEPW or with busing or with whatever else. Give me a call, we'll schedule an appointment, and you can talk to a family educator from Include NYC. We have 2 concerts this month, no, 1 concert this month and 1 in December. Those are Music for Autism's virtual concerts. Really exciting performers this month. Check out the chat and find out who they are, or come to our website. And I hope you're all sitting down. The weather has been just amazing recently. So we are going to continue outdoor, in-person, socially distanced gardening at the Red Hook Branch until Thanksgiving, unless it rains or snows. But we're really excited.
Like that tongue of snow.
Well, okay, no snow. So we're really excited to be able to continue doing that. I will put my information again, my contact information again in the chat, but I want to circle back to something, Debbie, that you said at the beginning about literacy. Of course, I am at the library. I run inclusive services at the Brooklyn Public Library, and literacy is what everything comes back to for us here at the library. And I want people to know that we have workshops for educators, for family members on supporting our kids with developmental disabilities in their literacy. What things that families and other caring adults can do with them that will help them. And I mean,
Gary?
I wanted to, hang on one second, Debbie.
Hold on.
Just the other thing I want to say about literacy is that I have dyslexia and dysgraphia. That wasn't a throwaway comment earlier that I made. And I read very poorly. I read print very poorly. I am almost completely an audiobook reader. And I'm also a librarian. So I know the importance of literacy. I know what it's like to struggle with literacy. And I'm happy to make these workshops available to groups and to talk to anybody who wants to talk about it. Again, I will put my information in the chat. I'm sorry, Debbie, but yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Madam Chair. You have to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself because, as I remind you, only 2 microphones can be
All right,
on.
Carrie, you took it a little bit out of context because with Tom, we're talking about Adams. Adams has for years, when he was a state senator, and I and other families brought this issue up to him, he didn't acknowledge it really, hardly did anything. Now that he's running for mayor, it's the big topic. So you see, I was bringing this to Tom because we have, since they've been meeting with him, you need to know that it's just recently did he come out and support this. And that's very sad. In reference with IEPs, I've had too many, look, I still have every IEP they written on my son and my brother. And I could read them. But you see, it's not me. I at this moment don't need that help. I want everybody to know where to get the help. And that's why I'm suggesting workshops on different days, different times, because not everybody can make the same. And knowing that that IEP is a contract helps families because they are been intimidated and bullied by a lot of the New York City DOE staff. And that's where it comes from, nothing else.
Gary, you want to answer that?
Yeah, just real briefly. Thank you, Deborah. I was just wanted to put out there that we have additional resources for people. This by no means impinges on anything that anybody else is doing, and it's not a substitute for problematic IEPs or their lack of enforcement, but it is some support for parents that we can offer. So, and I, I've also done this for for preschool special education providers and early interventionists. So if people are interested in that.
We have been this council and I've always been supportive of you. But when I hear an elected official starts finally admitting after what he did to me and other parents, it's not, that's why I have to let Tom know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Treat it that way.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I absolutely respect that. I was just trying to sort of add something else in there since the subject had come up. So
but
thank you.
I know where I send families who have issues with their children's literacy to your divisions, wherever it is in whichever branch and online.
Can I just add one thing quickly because we do need to let everyone else do announcement. Carrie, the main issue was nothing. It was something that somebody misspoke to Adams. That I am going to say this, and it wasn't. I'm not saying everything. I'm just going to go pieces and pieces. The bottom line is there was. And I agree with Joyce right now. Let's just say this. It is an issue that elected officials got to be careful what they're saying, and it still needs to be worked on in the city end. But I need to move on because Joyce seconded my motion anyway. Thank you, Joyce. Next person doing announcements. I need to look at the hands, but I'm going to go. I don't know why someone coming on now so late, but I don't know. Anyone have an announcements? Please, I need to know. Otherwise, I'm gonna just say buenos noches. Okay.
No. Hi, Chris. It's Sandy.
Sandy, what happened? You forgot your hands up today. Go ahead, Sandy. And I see you, Jessica Williams. Go ahead, Sandy. Jessica, I can see you clapping, so I know you're next. And as well as CCLs will be next. Sandy, you ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to let you know that Adopt Community Network is having a great free webinar supporting your child with autism through doctor's visits on Wednesday, November 17th, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. You'll learn ways to support your child's communication skills and sensory needs at the doctor's office and during medical procedures. Our speaker will be Lauren Donnelly, PhD. She's a psychologist and a faculty member at NYU Langone. And to register, please email us at familyconnect@adaptcommunitynetwork.org or call 718-436-7979, extension 704. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Jessica Williams from Tri-County.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Williamston. I am an intake and outreach specialist at Tri-County Care. We work with a large team of intake specialists who are knowledgeable in helping families and individuals to get through the enrollment process at OPWDD. We help families to provide the documents. For example, we will send a referral out to any of the popular Article 16 clinics so that they can receive their psychological, psychosocial, autism evaluations. We let the parents know what documents are needed to help them get through the enrollment process, such as the IEP, certain evaluations, a medical form. We basically hold the hands of the families and we help them to get through that process. And then also, if there are families who do not have Medicaid for their children, or if an individual doesn't have Medicaid, we do have Medicaid specialists here at Tri-County Care. We open up a case and then you have to go through that process with that specialist. Once you have completed the enrollment, we do assign a care manager in your area who will help you to get provide waiver services and also to complete your life plan as well. So if you guys would like to reach out to me, please email me or call me. I'm always available to help you through that process and to answer any of the questions you may have about Tri-County Care and how we help families. And we just want to make sure you get the right services that you need. You can always call me at 844-504-8400, and my extension is 9298. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Jessica. Care Design? Whoever's representing Care Design, I know you're here. Okay, then I'm going to move on to ACA from New York, and it looks like it's Ms. Bryan. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm Chrissy Bryant, the Outreach Coordinator. I put our information in the chat box, but we do have a clinical psychologist on staff that can do psychological reports, social histories, autism evals, as well as we have a new virtual medical that can be completed during our pre-enrollment process. So my number and email is in the chat box if anybody would like to. We're one of the CCOs that provide care management.
Thank you so much. Can you also please make sure you attend our subcommittees? It will be nice to see you guys there.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, and since Care Design, Joyce, you've been running something. Do you have an announcement about anything with what's going on in HeartShare?
No. I've been getting questions about the evaluations. I wrote who to contact in the chat.
Yeah.
And that most of the evaluations are done in person. There can be some options for remote, but in person is preferred.
Thank you. Matthew from YAI, do you have an announcement?
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. So right now, we do have Brooklyn free evaluations. We're still taking those. Our Article 16 clinic is currently not taking new referrals for psychological and autism testing. But if somebody does not have Medicaid, they can, utilize the free evaluation grant. Our Premier Healthcare Clinic is also as I wrote in the chat, we're doing the COVID testing and the vaccines. So please, call the clinic to inquire about setting up appointments for those. And that's it, really.
Thank you, Matthew. Since no one has a question for you on that one, that's the first time, but
Yep.
I'll say thank you. Pat Lou, are you here? Otherwise, I know Pat was asking she wanted to do announcements. She was driving. Okay. Wayne from My Time Inc. I know you're here. Do you have an announcement? Because you were texting me. Okay. So this will be the last call. Does anyone have an announcement? Otherwise, I'm going to say buenos noches. Okay. Oh, Wayne, Wayne, you have an announcement? I don't hear you. If your volume is not up. You can talk from air, but I don't see you and don't hear you. So otherwise, I'm going to move on. Okay, now just to remind everyone, please make sure you go voting. And right now my screen is a little jammy, but it's okay. Because everyone, just to remind everyone, we do want to thank everyone who attended today's meeting. And I have to say, we really almost blew it up, but that's okay. I know everyone put their announcements on. I'd like to remind people who are not on the phone, for the people on the computer end, please make sure that you go onto your chat box before you leave Miss iPad 4, and I'm guessing that's CARES. Please make sure, I don't know what she's, CARES, do you have an announcement? Because I've been asking this for like,
I'm here, but I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if I'm on correctly.
You on? I can hear you.
It's Linda.
Linda,
Okay, it's Linda.
Linda, I can hear you from New Jersey. Now I can see you.
Linda, I can hear you too. Glad
I'd
you're
like to
here.
make an announcement
Go ahead.
that we're still doing clinical evaluations for children with Medicaid, without Medicaid. We have services, we have therapy in our Article 16 clinic if anybody needs. We have many, many openings for Brooklyn individuals who need evaluations for OPWDD eligibility or anything else to get Medicaid. And we also have, like I said, the Article 16 clinic, and we are doing COVID shots. So if anybody needs anything from our agency, just call us at 212-420-1970, extension 230, or just ask the operator for Rivka or Pearl. And we do them quickly, and we have a lot of openings right now.
Linda, can you please and I have to remind you, Linda.
I put it on the chat.
That's one, but if you do have openings, please email it as well, because I have not seen your email for almost a century, almost half of the year. So
well, it's been a difficult couple of years.
I'm
Okay,
just talking
I'll
about
make
this year.
sure you get an email.
Thank you. Wayne Clark, are you ready? Because I saw you popped up. Hi, Wayne, fix your microphone because you're breaking so badly. Do you have an announcement? It's terrible, Wayne. You sound terrible. Wayne, you got a major echo. We can't, you're gonna break our speakers. Okay. As Wayne, Wayne, you can just type in the chat your announcement, because now because Joyce has to go and I want to make sure she has this link I'm trying to do for everyone before everyone leaves. So Wayne doesn't have an announcement. He's just waving, hello, everyone. I'm here, My Time Inc. Wayne, as I said before, please put it in the chat so I can then proceed. Now, to remind everyone here, before you leave, go to your chat box, number 1. Step 2, where you see there are 3 little dots on the right. Click on it. That's a box. Look in the bottom, you'll see the first one, saved your chat. Click on it. The chat is now saved in your folder. The only way you can get that information is when you end this meeting. So on behalf on that. Just to remind everyone, our next meeting, which Joyce and Debbie have mentioned, and I'm just going right back a second. The next meeting is November, there we go. And you see it's a little sticky time. What's up with it? The next meeting is November 17th, 2021. We will send you the new updated code. Please make sure that this recording will be available on the YouTube page later this afternoon, and it will be attached to the website as well. Also, as Joyce will agree with me, as well as Debbie, please remind you to please try to register for the 5-borough presentation from OPWDD, which is, everyone knows it's called CAS.
Yes.
CAS, thank you.
You're welcome.
Please try to attend that on November 4th. Please register. You can get that A on our website, B from our email. And again, it will pop up. Click on it and you will get it. And you can register right there and put your stuff, what you need, and they will send you the code soon. Again, so I do want to thank everyone. Joyce and Debbie, do you want to say anything before we end?
No, thank you to everybody. Have a good day.
Debbie? And we don't hear you because you can talk air. I don't speak air. Unmute. Unmute. Otherwise, I'm just going to say.
I got it. It was jamming. Thank you, everybody. And please go to that cast. Please attend all the subcommittees and please send all your please send any service openings to Christopher before Friday at for our website. Thanks, everybody. Please, everyone, have a safe day and enjoy, and see you all next month.
See you next month. Bye, everyone. Meeting ended.